We're raising money for the Port Authority Police Canine Retired Dogs. It's a brand new fund. And living in Edgewater, commuting to New York all these years, what does the Port Authority Police mean for you?
As you say, I live in Jersey. When I came back from Atlanta, it was 1989. Were you born then? No.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, yeah.
1 year.
And anyway, the Yankees were kind of a Jersey-oriented. We left from Jersey, so I moved to Jersey, and I've been there ever since. And I've had to cross the bridge 8 billion times, and et cetera, et cetera. So the Port Authority does their job, and it's enabled me never to miss a game in all the time I was with the Yankees. So it's not the easiest thing to get across the GW Bridge, but we did it every day for 36 years.
It's amazing. I talked to some of the players on your last game. I went into the clubhouse. I had them imitate your home run calls, which are one of a kind. It is high. It is far.
It is gone. The Fox Sox one to left.
All's well that ends well.
There were a lot of calls over the years. A-bomb from A-Rod sticks out. In coming up with them, where do you draw inspiration from?
Well, I live life, and I broadcast by the seat of my pants. So it just happens. A-bomb from A-Rod came when he hit a home run. Robbie Cano, don't you know, it just came up during the game. I will tell you this, because it's a cute story. Remember the Yankees had a backup catcher named Roman.
Austin Roman.
Okay, Austin Roman. And I had nothing for him. And one day in Detroit, an afternoon game, he hits a home run. And he's going round first, heading towards second, and it hit me. And I said, Romy, my homie. Well, everything you do, the players find out everything before they hit the showers, wives, girlfriends, friends, whatever. And so on the plane, I sit in the back, and Roman came back, and he said, John, I love it. It's great. His whole family had told him what I'd said. So anyway, some I've had to, it never was supposed to be for every player. Just supposed to be every now and then. Now it's every player. And so I've had to work at a few things. Now, my best, I think, is Giancarlo. I called up Berlitz, and I asked to speak to the Italian master. It was a gal. And I said to her, I need a short Italian phrase. I'm sure you're too young to know this, but years ago, Ronzoni had a great phrase, and they used it all the time. Ronzoni sono buoni. And I said, I need something like that. Yeah. So she worked at it for a couple of days, and I can't think of her name. I wish I could think of her name. Merlot, like the wine. Yeah. And she came up with Giancarlo, non si può stopparlo, which means you can't be stopped. And right now he's doing a good job at that.
My day job is I'm an Italian teacher, so I very much appreciate that. And I like the Fox Sox one to left. That's also Italian. Right. Your favorite one over the years? Do you have a favorite?
That's not like children. I have 4 kids, and I love them all. There's not one that I like better than the others. Not at all. I guess if you talk about the ones you hear the most, probably the A-Rod home run was the most. A guy stopped me at a bar one night, a bar. And he said, you know what I love? And I, what? He said, Georgie Juice one. So everyone has their own. I'm just lucky that I've been able to do it and that it worked. Yeah. In broadcasting, when you hear it come back, then you know it's hit the consciousness of the public. Bob Hope, before he became a big star, he was a star, was doing a radio show. And during the show, they would throw things that weren't even in the script. And then during the week, they would hear them come back. Things that made no sense. I'll tell them down at the office. What does that mean? But anyway, so I've read that. And in my case, when I hear, the things come back, I know that it's working.
The players appreciate them, I'll tell you that. My colleagues at WFAN, the morning show, the guys on the morning show, Boomer and Gio, they were wondering aloud, and I figured I would ask you, if and when the Yankees make the playoffs, or even the World Series, let's put it out there,
Right.
would you go back to the booth for an inning even, to broadcast an inning?
The only reason I wouldn't do it is because it's unfair to the guys who are doing it. They don't want me to come back. I mean, it's their time to shine. I was on the air. I know you can't believe this, but I began February 1st, 1960. And I've been on the air 64 years, so I figured that's enough already. February 1st, true. February 1st, 1960, my first day on the air, and I've been gainfully employed for 64 years. Wow. So that's the only reason I wouldn't do it. I'd love to do it, but it wouldn't be right.
When you're watching the TV, you told me you had TVs all around. Do you
Right.
feel yourself wanting to do it? You have the itch? You saying it to the TV?
No, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm coming here tonight, and even though I'm not doing anything, I have dinner with my kids, a pre-Daddy's Day dinner tomorrow, and then Father's Day at the homestead on Sunday. So, I wind up being busy. A lot of friends. I go out to dinner at night with a lot of friends. I'm really very happy, and tonight I go home and I'll watch the Yankees and I'll watch the Mets and I'll watch the Celtics who can clinch. So, I have a very good life. I'm very happy.
My final question.
Uh-oh.
What is your legacy?
Legacy. I don't know if I believe in those things. First of all, when I pass away, whatever I've done will be forgotten in 3 weeks. And what legacy? I mean, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. You don't know this, of course. We have a lot of people in here. I'll tell them. I was about 10 years old, and I don't know if this was the reason. I think it was. The radio was on in our apartment. And I heard a guy say, live from Hollywood, it's the Eddie Bracken Show. Da 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 da. Along with Eddie's special guests. Well, I didn't want to be Eddie Bracken, who was a star. I want to be the guy who said live from Hollywood. And I knew I was going to be on the air. Now, can you imagine how lucky I am? I never worried about school. Kids, don't listen to the rest of this. I don't want this to happen to you. I was never worried about school, and I was a terrible student. Oh, was I bad. And I must have flunked algebra and geometry 20 times. And, in fact, today, every now and then, not a lot, but I'll look up at heaven, and I'll say, see, Mom, I didn't need math. It drove her crazy. So I got my first job at a tiny station way the hell upstate New York for $60 a week. And I've been working ever since. And I've been happy ever since because I'm doing what I want. The fact that I got the Yankee job is unbelievable. I never dreamt of it because I think it could never happen. I had a terrific career. I mean, I did a talk show in Baltimore on radio and TV. And then in New York, I had a 3-hour sports talk show, and I did football for college in Baltimore, at Morgan State, and basketball and hockey. Then I go to Atlanta, and I'm doing baseball and basketball, seen around the country. So in 88, September of 88, I think I was playing tennis, and I came home, and the phone rang, and it was a producer from WABC. And he said to me, John, would you like to do the Yankees? Here is my line. What a jerk I am. I said, oh, I'd love, but I'm not giving up the Hawks. Obviously, I did. And he said they have a new general manager, and the general manager hated the broadcast and was making a change. And so I called up a buddy of mine, a lawyer, a guy named Mike DiTomaso, that I had broadcast the Nets with. And he's a lawyer. Did I mention that? He's a lawyer. That was the key. And I said, would you call this guy the general manager? I'd asked this guy, the general manager was Fred Winehouse. I said, does he know who I am? He said, he's a big fan. Well, don't forget, I was in New York in the 70s, and then when I'm in Atlanta, you could see the games here in New York. So I told Mike, I said, yeah, call this guy up and make a deal, which I doubted. And he called up a day later and said, we have a deal. Without an audition for the Yankees. And it's obviously worked out.
Yeah. If there was a documentary of your life, what would it be called?
One lucky guy. You know, I did this on the interview in Aaron Boone's interview room on my, you know, when we announced retirement, they were honoring me, which I never dreamt. Never dreamt. Can't believe it. Do you know on the scoreboard in Anaheim and in San Francisco, Susan sent them to me.
Yeah.
They had a thing, congratulations, John Sterling, on your retirement, voice of the Yankees. Imagine in Anaheim and in San Francisco. Amazing. Amazing. Anyway, what was my dumb point? And it was, I guarantee, a dumb point. Oh, when Bing Crosby, when he was about, you know, mid-career about, he wrote one of those books, those As Told To. I can't think of the name of the guy, Pete something. And, you know, Crosby entitled the book One Lucky Guy, I think it was the thing. It was a whole thing about luck, you know, how lucky have I been, that kind of thing. So I'm telling you, I wanted to do this since I was 10. I got a job when I was 21, and I'm working till, you know, a month ago. So I have no kick.
Well, John, I think it's time you go out and meet the people here. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you coming out to support a great cause. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
All right.
Danielle, what you ought to do when you go back to FAN, go to Olivero and tell him I sent you.
Okay.
He's the general manager, really good guy. You ought to start going on the air. You're pretty good.
Yeah, well.
Would
yeah.
you like that?
Yeah, I have a weekend show. Yeah, I host a show every weekend.
Where? When?
On the Fan.
Well, when?
Late nights, usually.
Oh, yeah?
But I'll be on Saturday morning, so tune in.
You know, I did a show there on a Saturday, and we're talking about doing another one.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. All
We'll
right.
see. Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
everybody.